as a business owner, you're going to have to figure out in the beginning, there's not going to be a lot of referrals, right?
Correct.
Fortunately, I have a really good handful of clients that I built over the last 5 years, using, different modes where I go out and there's people that just want to work with my company and all the other stuff. So we'll get a group of people that want to work with us. But a lot of it's about doing the service.
Welcome to Stay Paid Insurance and Financial Marketing. Unlock the secrets of success in insurance and financial services, where each episode delivers valuable tips and strategies to elevate your marketing game and help you succeed in both life and business. Brought to you by Reminder Media. Welcome to Stay Paid Insurance and Financial Marketing. My name is Joshua Stike, along with Luke Acree, and our guest today is Kevin Thompson. After having a successful career as a Major League Baseball player, Kevin is now the president and CEO of 9i Capital Group. With a background in finance and commitment to excellence, Kevin has earned his Certified Financial Planner designation, showcasing his dedication to mastering the intricacies of financial planning. Kevin, welcome to Stay Paid. Thanks for being here.
I don't know who that guy is that just you introduced, but it sounds like a cool human being. So I appreciate it.
He's an impressive guy.
Kevin, man, excited to talk to you today. How long did you play professional baseball for?
06 and 07 with the Yankees, and then I went to the Oakland A's. I got picked up by the Oakland A's in 07, finished the Major League season out with them. And then I got picked up again by the Pirates, where I tore a tendon in my wrist, when that was the end of my baseball playing days there.
That was it. So what was it like playing at that level of competition? Like, as you look, I'm sure obviously it took years and years of hard work and discipline to get there. Can you give us any insight what it means to compete at that level and some of your key takeaways?
Well, I know we're going to get to this, but so I wrote a book about MLB to CFP. It was live on Apple Books and Amazon. I know we'll get there, but inside the book, I kind of talk about my first experience, right? So there's no experience, better than the Yankees. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I've been in other parts of other organizations. The way things are done in their organizations from top to bottom is just, it's just top notch, upper class. Like it's the way businesses run. You see it. And that's why I run the business the way I run it today, is just like the Yankees taught me how to run a business. So, I like from walking in the clubhouse, from being with the guys like the Jeets of the world. And that's Derek Jeter. And then of course, Giambi, the Damons, the Sheffields, being around those guys, seeing how they move and shake. It's just,
Is it the level of intensity that they have? Like, are they just obsessive on like practicing and like, or is it like when you get around these people like Derek Jeter and stuff, is it like their discipline of showing up and their focus? Like, what insight do you take away from being around those champions? So
being around a champion, the difference between the 1% and then the rest of us, it's the day-to-day and having that mental mindset. Even when you have a bad day, it's like, okay, scratch, erase, repeat, do it again. You know what I mean? Versus in a traditional mindset, we're going to like, oh, that didn't work. I'm going to scratch that. I'm going to scrap that whole thing and start something else. And you're always searching. But they're like, no, sticking with the plan. Wow. This is the plan. If it's A, B, and C, I'm going to do A, B, and C. A, B, and C may not have worked today, but it's going to work. So just keep with the plan, even if it doesn't work from day to day to day.
That's really good, man. It's really powerful. So I guess share with us a little bit of, like, obviously you tore your tendon and that ended the baseball career. What made the transition to financial services? Why choose that industry? What was the thought process there?
Well, it really wasn't me doing it, I guess, because when I was with the Pittsburgh Pirates, I was involved. I was making some pretty good money, so I was involved with this company called the Stanford Group. Okay. And if you're familiar with the Stanford Group, it turned out to be a Ponzi scheme, right? So that's the reason why I got into the business, because I didn't want to be, I guess, I didn't want my money to be involved in things I didn't understand. So while I was with the Pirates, I enrolled in school. I started learning as much as possible while I was still playing baseball. And then unfortunately, I tore a tendon in my wrist, so I went to school full time. And so the Ponzi scheme was the Stanford Group Ponzi scheme of 08 and 09. I was in the clubhouse, man. I was in the clubhouse watching this stuff and on CNBC, and then Alan Stanford's walking out in handcuffs. The company president is walking out in handcuffs. You're like, what in the is going on?
That's crazy.
So I called my advisor. I said, hey man, I don't know what's going on, but I'm hearing these things about Ponzi scheme and all this other stuff. He says, you know what? I don't know what's going on. Let me call you back. Hour later, he calls me back. He's like, dude, this is terrible. We're going to conservatorship. The state administrator's coming in. We're going to this place is shutting down because of a Ponzi scheme. I was like, wow. He says, I'm shocked just as you. And then
did you lose a bunch of money, or were you protected?
Yeah, so I was protected because my money was actually invested inside of the stock market.
Okay, not with whatever they were doing.
In the Antiguan CDs that he was selling, that was kind of that fugazi money, whatever they're going to call it. But here's the deal.
Fugazi, you know what I mean?
Yeah, fugazi. But here's the deal, though. Your money's frozen. The state administrator's coming in, so you have no access to it. All your money is with this company, and
no way. How long does that last? Like, how long do they freeze it for?
Depends on the state administrators. Depends on what they have to figure out. Mine was 6 to 8 months, I believe.
Jeez.
I can't even recall the link because it was just all my money was just frozen. I was like, what the hell am I going to do? So
wow, man, that's crazy. Yeah. So that's
terrible
a really that makes sense. Like, you had this whole experience happen to you. You don't want anybody else to go through it, but it's mainly like that's where the best companies come from, or best businesses. It's like literally out of necessity to solve a pain point. So you're solving a pain point for yourself of going, okay, I just got my money frozen. I don't understand where my money's at, what's happening to it. So then walk us through, like, when you set out to build your financial business. You mentioned being with the Yankees, everything from top of the organization down. Well, there was just the way they ran their organization. What did you take from them to implement in your business to really make it take off?
The number one thing is details matter. The details matter. I don't care how small they are. With the Yankees, it's like, everybody's going to wear their pants one way. Everybody's going to shave. Everybody's going to do all these different things. It's the little details that gets everybody in line to the greater goal. And I take that to my business today, where it's the details, whether it be compliance, whether it be marketing, whether it be doing the know your client, the KYCs, all the small details matter because it keeps you out of hot water. First and foremost, but secondly, it's those small details, whether it be the processes and all the things you put in place that you follow, that through time you get success, and it makes everything run a little bit more smoothly. And that's what I find, because I've seen it from top to bottom, whether it be A ball to the big leagues. It's just everything is just detail oriented, and it's a perfect organization to be a part of.
So talk a little bit about that, the marketing side of it, because sales and marketing and kind of growing your business. How do you go out, start a firm, find your first client, and then how are you continuing to build that business and find clients today?
So fortunately, I started with a broker dealer, and I recently broke away and opened up my own RIA, like you just mentioned. I had some clients that I built over the last 5 to 7 years. But you're right, finding that first client, whether it be the new age social media way to do it. I'm not a big proponent of, but just throwing a bunch of stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. I'm more along the lines of, doing it properly, getting the information out, giving out free information, and then, then tailoring that towards certain audiences, whether it be on my YouTube channels, whether it be on my LinkedIn, whether it be on my Facebook, Instagram, what have you, using all these different sources from a marketing perspective, because they're out there. They're out there. Why not use them? Because guess where eyeballs are? Eyeballs are there. They may not be the eyeballs you want, but they're the eyeballs you need, because eyeballs begat eyeballs. And then when people see, because what are people doing all day? They're just scrolling. They're scrolling. And guess what they're going to scroll across? Your face. Like, wow, this guy, what got a weird looking afro right here. What's this guy talking about over here? Oh, he's talking about finance. Well, maybe I want to listen to him. It's just, you don't know who's watching. You don't know who's looking. And that's how you do it. That's just one part of it.
Okay.
But go ahead. Question.
No, I was going to say, do you find yourself focusing on a particular niche? Is there a specific sort of niche?
You going after the baseball guys?
No, so baseball's a little bit difficult because there's gatekeepers. So each of them have their agents. Their agents may have somebody that they're working with on the financial planning side. So I typically try to stray away from that. But yeah, I did start with some baseball guys in the beginning. But me being a CFP, I'm an RICP, which is a retirement income certified professional. I tend to lean more on the people that are the baby boomers, out of near retirement people, individuals that are looking to walk away from their current employer. Those are the people I'm typically working with.
Are you getting most of your business from referrals?
Absolutely. So that's one thing as a business owner, you're going to have to figure out. In the beginning, there's not going to be a lot of referrals, right?
Correct.
Fortunately, I have a really good handful of clients that I built over the last 5 years, using different modes where I go out and there's people that just want to work with my company and all the other stuff. So we'll get a group of people that want to work with us. But a lot of it's about doing the service within your company at a very high level, because if you do it at a high level, they'll tell somebody else about the level that you presented to them. And that's what it's about. I don't want a bunch of SEO stuff hitting my website, getting 100 leads and all that stuff, because you know what that's going to do? That's going to cause burnout. I'm going to have to go through all these different leads, and I'm going to say, hey, do you want to work with us? Hey, you got to go through this same constant conversation every single day. And it's going to burn you out, because there's going to be a lot of no's. And of course, every no leads to another yes, but it just burns you out versus having that warm referral from the client that loves you best. That's just my opinion.
No, I tend to agree I think there's different phases of business. And I think in the first phase of business, like referrals should be the majority of your business. Always it should be the number one category. But as you are trying to get scale, it just depends what your goals are. Because I think what you're saying with the SEO, if I'm hearing you correctly, like you need to hire somebody to do that, because you're 100% right. Meaning like you get a bunch of leads in. If you have to be the inside sales agent making those calls to try to weed through and qualify and do all that, well, you're going to get burnout. So you should do it enough to make it, to learn what it is, to then go hire the person who can then make those calls for you, right? That's leverage. That's the scaling of a business. But you can have a great business producing, and the revenue doesn't matter, people. All that matters is your take home. That's all that matters, right? So getting referrals to work with is an easier business to build ultimately. I'm curious how you think, right? One thing you mentioned was a high level of service. Do you do any drip marketing, touch points, like with your clients? How do you think about following up to ask for referrals? Do you ask? Do you not ask? Like, what's your whole process around getting these referrals?
I am a high touch individual. What I mean is that I send out weekly market updates. We do monthly market updates for the month. Then we do quarterly. Then I do monthly calls where I'll do like a YouTube. Hey, this is what's happened on this particular day. I'm a high touch, birthdays, anniversaries, what have you, because I will tell you this: the number one reason people leave your business is because they either A, don't hear from you, or B, you have bad service, right? So I never want someone to say, oh, I haven't heard from Kevin in 3 months, and you see that ACAT going out. Right. So it's all about high touch, high delivery, and whether it be texting, whether it be phone calls, whether it be emails, what have you, my clients will get touched maybe 3, 4, 5 times a month, every single one of them, no matter what. And I know some people are like, oh, that's a little high. I mean, that's fine, because I'll tell you this. The reason why people leave in our business is because they don't hear from their advisors enough. They'll tell you that time and time again. It's not about performance. It's about how often are you hearing from somebody? It's a simple thing, because let me tell you this. If I'm on my patio watching Liverpool, my Premier League team, which I watch all the time, and they got a game today or tomorrow, by the way, here, all I got to do is this. Hey, how's it going? Hope everything's going well. Happy holidays. That took me less than 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But people think their time is so valuable. Your time is so quick. We got to get this importance of the important feelings out of our heads and start thinking of a more of a human level. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, man, you're speaking my language, brother. There's a financial advisor in Annapolis, Maryland. Josh and I talk about in our talks sometimes. He's a client of ours. His name's Brian Harris. Yeah. This guy's just a stud. I mean, we can't take credit for his success. We're lucky enough to work with him. But, he's managing well over $1 billion in assets. Wow. Just a killer. He does 275 touch points a year. for his clients.
There you go.
275.
Yeah.
So it just, I'm sharing it because it really affirms and backs up what you just said. Is like, and what he does, same type of concept you do. He does a weekly email, 52 emails a year that are market type updates. He does a lot of client events. He does birthday cards, anniversaries. He does our customizable magazine. Like, he does a bunch of different touch points on a ton of different frequencies, right? Digital, print, in person, over the phone, face to face. And it's just amazing watching him, how he's just grown. But most people, they think what you said. They go, how can you do 3 to 4 touch points a month? And you're like, well, how often do you talk to your wife? How often do you talk to your best friend? It's like you talk to them way more than 3 to 4 times. If you want these clients to know, like, and trust you, you got to actually talk to them. Like, you got to keep in touch. It's just wild how people don't do that. How do you ask for the referral, though? Or do you?
So I typically, like today, I'm going to go to a client's house, have a conversation, but it's just about just letting them know what I'm doing. If they're happy with my service, typically I will just say, hey, we're expanding, we're growing, and we love to help anybody else in your family or people that you think we can possibly reach out to. And they'll just say, oh yeah, absolutely. Here's such and such phone number. Here's such and such. Let me make the warm introduction. Now, one thing I'll say this from an introductory standpoint, it's never going to work when they just give you a phone number and tell you to go call somebody. It's typically, hey, how about you introduce me to them via either text exchange or email or what have you. That's more of a warm lead in. So no one's necessarily just shocked, like, why are you calling me? What's going on here? So it's always that warm introduction that you want.
Yeah, agree. We get on our side, it's a totally different business, right? We're doing marketing and stuff, but we'll get thousands of referrals a year because we're asking people. And we have found the same thing. If you get a name and number, which we often do, those close at a certain percentage, right? They're going to pick up. But if you get that client who's referring you to actually text you and them together and say, hey, I just wanted to introduce you to Luke. He's helping me with my marketing. I thought he'd be a great resource for you. You should definitely hear him out. All of us, I mean, it just skyrockets your closing rate because there's that trust built in, and people buy from trust, right? They were going to use a CFP that they believe in, not a Ponzi scheme, right? That's what's going to.
Don't get me started with that, man.
I still want to pick your brain because I'm just so curious.
Yeah.
On, like, you are a champion, right? You played at the elite level, and you're around elite people. So one of the things you said was just their ability to stick with their plan. What other things, like, have you found in your life that has enabled you? You play professional baseball, and now you're killing it in the financial services arena. Like, it's obviously translated your philosophy and methodology on how to be a champion. Like, what is it? Is it, sticking to the plan? What other things can you give us of going, this is what it means to be a champion. This is what it means to be elite in your craft. This is what it means to overcome adversity.
So there is no, so I'm not going to give you the YouTube special where here's 5 things. Okay? You know what I mean? What I'm going to tell you is this, and this is just my true belief. There are people that are doers and there's people that aren't, right? And I believe in the, is it the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule? Yeah. Where 20%, where 80% of the revenue is going to come from 20% of the people. It's the same thing in regards to just this life, I believe. Like 80% of this world that's being created is coming from a small portion of individuals. And you guys see it, the Elon Musk of the world and all these other guys. It's just, which part are you going to be in, right? Like, are you the 20%? Are you going to be the 80%? And there's no wrong answer. There's no bad place to be. I mean, the world, that's just the way the world works. But so my philosophy is, I feel like I'm a 20%er because, like, I've done some certain things. Like, I've been to certain parts of the world. I've done certain things. I play at the highest level. I've gotten certain credentials, yada, yada, yada. So I want to create, I want to build, I want to not only build for just myself, but build for my community, because I know the African-American community, we're highly underutilized inside of our community, financial wise. We have, we're deemed to have low IQs in the financial space. So I want to change that. And this right here is a start, because seeing my face on a screen talking about such matters as financial wellness and things like that, it brings another light to our own community to put us in a different light, because I don't want to get into that part, but it's just the constants in our society is that we're deemed to be one way. But I want to change the whole entire dynamic around, well, that's not the case. You know, there's very intelligent, highly ethical, highly principled individuals that are in the financial space, that are in other parts of the society, that are not in athletics and or art. You know what I mean? But just change the dynamic a little bit.
I love that. It seems like, obviously, if I'm breaking it down from a principle standpoint, that's very mission oriented. Were you super mission oriented in your baseball career? What I mean by that, like you had this huge why that was driving that for you, or?
You know what? Maybe that's probably the reason why I didn't stick longer than I should, because I didn't have a mission. My mission was to make money, right? To feed my family, make money, and yada, yada, yada. And maybe if I would have changed my mission and had a different drive, it probably been a bit different, right? But this mission is very serious to me because, like I said, and I can give you the numbers, but if there's 40 million African-American people in the United States, they say 20% of us are below the poverty line, which means there's 8 to 10 million people that are below the poverty line.
Wow.
That's a huge number, right?
Yeah, huge.
And that dynamic just continually, every time a recession happens, every time something happens in regards to just societal, whether it be, CPI is high. Well, who's going to get hit the worst? My community. Education's lower and unemployment goes up. Well, what happens? Hits our community first. So it's just, yes, I'm mission oriented in this stance as of today with my business.
Yeah. Were you told no a ton in your career?
You're always told no. Like I was told no in baseball, like, oh no, you're not ready. Oh no, this, that, and the other. I have a baseball story. The day I learned how baseball worked, quote unquote, the MLB worked, was when we were in Toronto. And of course, I was the 25th guy on the roster, right? I was the last guy on the roster. I get it. I wasn't a big name. I didn't have a contract. But one day I was asked to hit with the extra guys because it was in September. So the 40-man roster comes up. I was asked to hit with the extra guys. I was like, that's interesting, And then I went in to talk to the manager, Joe Torre, at the time. I said, hey, I was in the lineup today. I usually hit on the field and everything like that. He said, oh, man, I forgot. I'm like, you know what? It's embarrassing. You know what I mean? Because I worked my ass off to get here, but I get it. I get how this thing works. It's not about talent at a point certain. It's just about contracts, what it looks like, the business side of baseball, and I saw it there. So
interesting. What was it like working with Joe Torre? What was that like? What was he like? His management style?
I mean, he's just. The reality is a manager. The GM's making the moves.
Oh, really?
The GM's making the moves on a daily basis. So, hey, Kevin's here, Kevin's there, or someone's here, someone's there. The GM makes the moves, and he just manages with the moves that are made. That's
gotcha.
What it is.
Okay, makes sense. That's awesome. So interesting.
Yeah, great story. Great story. Amazing mission and what you're doing there.
Yeah,
and
seriously.
Capital. Really, really appreciate you coming on the podcast today, Kevin. Before we close out, let people know how they can connect with you.
Man, you can go a lot of spaces. You can go to our YouTube station, 9 Innings Podcast on the YouTube. Go to my website, www.9icapitalgroup.com if you want to schedule an appointment. Or you can go to our LinkedIn, which is Kevin Thompson and or 9i Capital. Or, of course, Instagram, which is 9i Capital Group as well. All these different modes. And, of course, you can go get my book, MLB to CFP, which is live on Apple and Amazon, which, again, talks about the captain in there, Derek Jeter. I had a very great story, a very wonderful story in there about him that we spent some time together. But again, the Yankee days, growing this company right here as well. It's been a phenomenal experience, and I'm just happy to be on this podcast with you guys today.
Awesome. Thanks again, and thank you all so much for listening. Definitely go check out Kevin's book and connect with him. You can get all of those links that he mentioned all in one place within the show notes and over at staypaidpodcast.com. You'll get this episode along with the video. And if you enjoyed this episode and want to show your support, head on over to Apple Podcasts, drop us a 5-star review along with a comment. We'll read it here on the show. And the best way to support Stay Paid is to simply share this episode with someone that you know. If you want to get hold of me or Luke, you can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com. And of course, you can follow us on social media as well. We are at Stay Paid Podcast. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
Guys, I'm Luke Acree. Kevin, awesome, man. Yeah, love your energy, love your demeanor, so many golden nuggets. My big takeaway for everybody listening to this that you should implement right away is, what he just said, the difference between the 1%ers, and really he's a 1%er, right, because he was playing in the MLB. So it's like the 1% of the 1% when he's talking about the Derek Jeters is they stuck to the plan. And it didn't matter what came their way. They stuck to the plan and they ran the play. And I know Josh and I have had recent conversations just here at Reminder Media. We're nowhere near we're in a decent sized company, but we keep telling ourselves, yeah, one of our big mistakes is we're chasing shiny objects. We're changing all the time. We got to stick to what our zone of genius is and stick to the plan. And so my challenge to you today is, one, do you have a plan? If not, you got to start there. And two is, are you working the plan? And are you letting things distract you from hitting that plan? Or can you have the mentality that Kevin has and that Derek Jeter have, where they literally, yeah, it didn't work today, but I'm going to stick to it. It's going to work tomorrow, and I'm going to work it out. Remember, the difference between top producers and mediocre producers in every business is top producers take action. Take action on that today.